Communication Man here. Question for you. Why are problems wonderful things to have? Now you might be thinking, did he just say what I think he said? You might be scratching your head right now. No, that's not an accident. I actually put this, and I think a lot of people misunderstand what we're going to talk about, and that's why I created this video. So, are we wrong about everything? Everything we're taught in school and society? I think we are, and I'm going to explain why, but most of us grow up fearing problems. We loathe problems. We're trying to always run away from a problem, not realizing that problems are good. So subscribe. I have a video every Wednesday, communication tips, life hacks, and also things to challenge you to think different, to think outside the norms, so you can have an unfair advantage and live your life successfully. More money, more problems. We've heard that before, right? It's in a famous rap song. More money, more problems. So the issue with what's going on there is they're viewing problems as negative things. And if you always believe that a problem is bad, you are always going to feel bad. Your life will always be miserable. So one of the nice things is if you flip it and you understand that the problem is good. It's an obstacle between you and what you want. When you learn how to overcome this obstacle, that's how you get happiness. A lot of people don't understand. They think happiness is sexual pleasure, or eating, or just laughing or comedy. But then they'll do it like too much, just excessive amounts, and they still don't feel happy. And the human soul, the brain, the body, whatever you want to call it, we are not designed to just be pleasure creatures. Like, we're designed to do things that are higher, aligned with our spiritual purpose. So more money equals more problems. Well, problems aren't bad. Don't run away from the problems. There's good problems and there's bad problems. Think about a drug addict who's trying to get more drugs. Well, that's a bad problem because it's not going to help that person grow or evolve. That's just going to ruin them more. But a drug addict that is trying to get off of drugs, finding new friends, maybe needing medical attention, but getting help and committing to a higher state of life, a healthier state of emotional being, instead of trying to get drugs to feel better, but finding things that actually make you feel better, like solving problems. So that's a good problem to have because they're overcoming something and they're improving, they're getting their life better. So think about all the celebrities that commit suicide, and now there's obviously more than what we really know just by reading a tabloid or some news headline, but there is a common theme, and there's a belief that I think a lot of people have, that if I get enough money, if I get attractive enough, if I am successful enough, if I have everything aligned right, one day I will have no problems and my life will be great and I'll be happy and everything will be good. And then they find out, they get the money, they get the fame, they get the success they want, they get the big house, and they're still miserable. Now, what they were doing was they were trying to fill a spiritual need with a physical tool. So think about how silly it would be if you said, hey, can you hand me a hammer? I need to put this nail in the wall. I want to hang up a picture. And I said, sure thing. And I walk over and I give you a tomato. You're going to look at me funny. I go, no, just squash the tomato against the nail. It's the wrong tool. It's not going to work, and I'm going to get hurt. It's a silly idea. Well, a lot of people are acting silly when they're trying to figure out how to be happy, and they're trying to consume as much as they can, or do drugs, or do something to get them up, and they feel good for 3 seconds. And then as soon as they purchase the handbag, or they get a compliment, or something happens, that's it. Now they need another hit. So their spirit is not aligned with their body. So there's something else going on there. And when you understand that, it's gonna make more sense. Think about all the greats we have lost just in the last few years, and so on, and we'll lose more, unfortunately. And you have Robin Williams, one of the funniest actors. He's really nice, really felt type of movies. And whether you love him or hate him, he was a very good actor. He got a lot done, and he had a good heart. But the sad thing is, he commits suicide. Now, some people could say it's just for pain and all these other things, but I think there was more going on psychologically. I know he had a lot of divorces, a huge amount of debt. He was taking on too much work. But I still think he was trying to fill something in his spirit with a physical problem, a physical tool. And it wasn't the money that was going to save him. because he's made lots of it. It's something going on deeper in the mechanics of it. Now, the reason we're privy to celebrities is because everything they do, including their dirty laundry, is marketed out there because it makes money for the people who are selling the newspapers or the videos or the headlines, digital newspapers, right? So when you think about Heath Ledger, okay, he died over a drug overdose, prescription drug overdose, accidentally, and we don't know if it's accidental, but probably was accidental. But he was not sleeping well. Some people said the insomnia. I still think that could be a physical thing, but I also think it could be something more. Well, why aren't you sleeping? Could there be other factors contributing to that? Are there things that maybe there's a problem he wasn't willing to solve and it was just eating him up? Or maybe it was simply just, there could have just been a biological thing. But I think it's more than that, especially because they said when he took on the role as Joker, he started to really take on and personify the Joker's mindset, and he really is a good actor, so he wanted to be true to the character. And I think your mental state can really take over sometimes, so you got to be really careful with that. And then you have Kurt Cobain. Okay, yes, sometimes it's easy to write people off and say, oh, they're a drug addict, and just that's it. But if you're really smart, you got to understand, why do people do drugs? They feel like a low state, they feel bad, and they're trying to feel good. And when you're trying to feel good artificially, you're always going to feel miserable once the drug wears off, because you feel good for a little bit, and then when your spirit starts thinking about what's going on, you start to remember, wow, like, look at me, like, where you start realizing, like, what's going on? Why am I acting like this? Such an animal. So what I want you to understand is, when we're all born, we're born into a very primitive state, okay? It's just feed me, scream, scream. Like, we have very low level functioning brain activity. And we're just like these, leeches, kind of just, I need, give me. And then as you get older, you become independent and you learn how to become self-sufficient, and eventually you can give back to the world if you choose to. So another popular person was the lead singer of Linkin Park, Chester Bennington. It's a real bummer because his music was really good. But something interesting is, I remember one of my psychology classes, they talked about, be really careful the music you listen to, because if it's really angry or dark, you keep going to an emotional state, and basically it's like you're stacking bricks on an already burdened person. If you're emotionally heavy and sad, it's just you're reinforcing that. So I think just a theory, but one of the ideas is maybe, I'm sure there's many other factors, okay, but the fact that his music is it's very good, but it's very dark. And if you're constantly on the road, you're not sleeping good, not eating good, you have an unstable social life because you're randomly going different places and you got these crazy highs and lows, I think that can definitely lead to some crazy thought processes and ultimately death if it's not handled correctly. But my theory between all this is, they were trying to solve a spiritual problem with this. It's something higher than us. It's not just your body, with physical needs, with physical desires, basically satisfying those things. So basic comfort, like having a house and money and safety to be able to go to the hospital if you have a bill, you can pay it. Okay, those are good. Okay, if you understand psychology, that Abraham Maslow, the different levels of what we need to feel safe, that's one of the bottom ones. And then as you progress higher, you get more money, then you want status, and after you get status, then you want to contribute and give something back to the world, and then ultimately you want spiritual expression, who you are. You want to mark the world in a special way, hopefully. So what I want you to understand is, I think most of these people were trying to fill a need with the wrong resource. Okay, so we need different resources for differing problems. All right, so what I really want you to take away from all this is, problems are beneficial. They're actually good. And if you hate problems, you're going to hate your life forever, because life is never going to stop having problems. And even if we could have no more problems, we may not actually like that life if there was nothing to challenge us. So pretend for a moment, I don't know, just pretend that we have lived immortally for infinity, years before this, okay? And everything is perfect, you can call it heaven, paradise, whatever you want to call it. And, there's no battles to fight, okay? And you think, how can I grow as a spirit, okay? Because you don't have a body, it's spirit. How could I grow? Well, pretend you're let me go to this place, let me go visit Earth, and I'll take on a body and I'll limit myself. Okay, normally I can fly and I have access to information beyond, comprehension right now. But I'm going to purposely limit myself just to see what I can do. Can I do it without all this, the cheat codes in a video game, so to speak? And I think Earth is a very difficult real-life video game, except it's not as fun as a video game because we can't just fix things when we mess things up. It takes a lot longer and it's harder. But I think these problems are good for us. I think it's like we're kind of like out of shape and fat and wobbly spiritually. Like maybe we look great, but really like on a higher level we're not really doing so hot. So we choose to come, and it's like going to a gym. So Earth could just be a gym for us. Now this is just theory, so don't go crazy with it. Just the idea. Just understand the idea. So it would make sense to go somewhere where you can work out the spiritual muscles, because you can't do it if everything's great, if there's no issues. Now think about how boring our Earth would be if there was never any problems. Now I know it sounds great in theory, but what if it actually happened? I mean, every story would be so boring. There once was a dragon and he was sweet and he came over and we hugged him. There was no conflict. Much better, there once was a grumpy dragon who we tried to hug him, and he burst out fire and almost killed us, and we had to run away, and he threatened to kill our whole village if we ever go up again. Okay, now there's some suspense. Why is he so angry? What happened? Oh, we found out later the townspeople tried to kill him. Well, that's a good reason to be angry at townspeople, right? So what would make a more interesting story, if it's fantastical, it's a fantasy or something like that, is it was a long time ago, it was a prince, right? Now there's a spell, and if he can find some, the people love him, he can turn back to a prince. And what if he comes back and then he wants revenge, and then you have to see like how somehow someone changes his heart, or people love him enough to not seek revenge and forgives them. See, that's a complicated story, and it could be really interesting if it's done correctly. But if the whole story was there was a prince, he was happy, nothing ever bad happened to him, we'd all start yawning and fall asleep in your first 10 seconds, okay? So don't be so upset and scared about problems, okay? I want you to enjoy your problems. And understand this. Don't ask for something if you don't want the problem that comes with it, okay? Everything you want, okay? There's a rock, there's a big obstacle between you and it. So if you go, oh, I want to look attractive, I want to be sexy, well, there's going to be a big rock there. You're going to have to move it or go around it or do something to go overcome that rock. And that might be eating better, learning about how skin works, how, the cells are formed, what, time you need to sleep, creating a better schedule. But all of this, if you really understand it, is going to help you develop your spirit. Now, you can say we don't have one. I think we do. If you don't believe that, fine. Think about your higher mental faculties, okay? But I think we all do, because I've seen when people die, you can see their body. Like it's just a piece of flesh. It's nothing anymore. I think there's definitely something like inside it. I think there's a soul in that body. Now, like I said, I don't care if you don't believe that. It's fine. But there's definitely, we all agree that it's not the body. Because if it was just the body, we wouldn't put it in a machine and burn it to smithereens, or we wouldn't just bury it in the ground if they were just their body, because, then we'd try to fix it. But we all know there's something else going on that we don't understand, right? So my point to you is, don't be scared of problems. Enjoy your problems, and be careful. If you want, say if you want to be a millionaire, you're going to have a really big problem. If you just want to make $95,000 a year, you're still going to have a problem. So it's just a smaller one. But whatever you want, just remember, that problem is going to make me better. I'm going to have to grow, learn how to be, like if you want to make more money, you have to help people more. You have to be more valuable in the marketplace. You have to learn to care about people more. Those are all things that develop your spirit. And sometimes you see in movies and you go, oh, well, that guy, he was a crook, he was horrible. And you think, well, is he really successful though? What if he has the money but his relationships are horrible? And he hates himself every day. They don't show you that in the movie, and he feels empty and alone because he can't trust anybody. He's always looking over his shoulder, worrying if he gets caught for whatever he did, or people want revenge on him because what he did was underhanded. That's not a life, okay? That's a miserable, pathetic excuse of an existence. So don't be envious of foolish things you see in movies and stuff. People that have real happiness are solving problems. And every problem you solve, you feel better about yourself, okay? That problem, without problems, there can be no hero, okay? So you need the problems to be the hero in your own family, in your own story, in your own society. So the problems are good. They're what we overcome them, we find solutions to them. Everybody praises you. We feel better because we know we overcame something difficult. And Earth is our playground. It's our gym to get spiritual muscles, to get stronger, to learn how to overcome things, to learn how to use our self-discipline. So think about that. Problems are good. They're good for your growth, and don't be scared of them. Now, when I created this video just now, I got really, really angry. I created a first draft, and I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was really good, and it crashed. It didn't save anything, and I was so upset, okay? I mean, I wanted to scream, and I'm like, well, think about the irony. You know, you're telling people problems are good, and here's a problem. So I started thinking about, okay, so I started researching what are some other video editing platforms out there, what are some other things, and I was looking at them, and, you know, so far I haven't seen any I like, but okay, maybe I just purchased this laptop, maybe I need to find a way to get more like a higher end one, I don't know, but that's a problem I'll find, I'll figure out. But you know what I did? I said, what can I learn from this? So there's going to be always problems coming at you. Instead of getting scared of them, say, oh, how do I get rid of them? Say, what can I learn from this problem? What's it going to do? It's going to teach me patience. So I was really upset at first, and then I started thinking about this. I hurt my brain. I was so angry. I could feel the tension in my head. And I calmed myself down, and I said, all right, control your body. Stop this. And what can I learn from this? Okay, I can learn patience. I have to go. I have a lot of important things. I got a meeting I have to go to. I have a lot of things I need to do today. All right? But what can this teach me? That in my life, there's going to be more problems. And if I blow up or if I act like this in front of other people, I might lose a contract. I might lose a relationship. I might look like a complete moron. So you know what? Let me learn this now. Be patient now. Things will happen. Learn how to overcome it and not let my body go crazy and emotionally, you know, into tycoon. So that's good for my soul. It's good for my spirit. I'm learning how to control things and also how to improve it for next time. So I'm already thinking what some different solutions. So think about that. You're going to have something happen today, and instead of going, man, this sucks. I hate my life. I hate people. Society is the worst. Grow up and think, what's good about this problem? Maybe I can find a way to teach people. Maybe I can show people. Maybe I can create something that helps people. What can I do to make society better? Because when you complain about society, you're whining about yourself, and it's annoying. Grow up. We're all part of this world. So if you don't have a better solution, shut your mouth, right? Think about what's the solution, though. Okay, what can we do, and how can we grow from this, all right? Now, I don't want to get mean about it, but the point is we do need to sometimes realize there's a benefit in taking responsibility. And when you try to run away from that, you're going to be miserable. But when you embrace it, embrace the suck, like the military would say, you feel happy because you know you're doing something good about it and you're overcoming it, okay? So one more example, Tesla, I just was reading about. They have a real big problem. Car insurers don't want to insure them because they cost a lot of money to fix. Well, Tesla's thinking about rolling out their own insurance company and just insuring Tesla. So think about that. That could change the whole auto industry. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe nothing will happen of it. But you know what they did? They said, look, we have this huge problem. People are worried to get our cars because it's so expensive to get insurance. We'll give them hopefully better insurance price, more accurate insurance, easier to work, and they have all these cameras on the car so they can see if the person was at fault or, you know, if they're lying or if they were innocent. They can also see that too and help this person. So what I'm saying is every problem has a solution, and if you enjoy the process, you're going to have a happier life. And don't run away from your problems. Be excited because these are going to give you some big super muscles. You want to be like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. You want to get some crazy strong muscles when you're spirit. So by the time you die at the end of this, you know, chapter in your life, you know, for your existence on earth, people are going to have great memories of you. Wow, man, that person was incredible. You're going to have the coolest stories of the problems you overcame, the dragons you slayed. So be the hero in your story. Be the hero for your family. Be the hero for yourself. You don't respect yourself when you run away from problems, but you respect yourself when you overcome them. So respect yourself by enjoying problems and embracing them, okay? Love problems and ask always, what can this problem teach me? Especially when you don't know, when you're like, I don't get it, I don't understand what's going on. What can this teach me, and what can I do about it? All right, love you. Think about that. Chew on that. It'll make your life really good if you get that. Conversation starter question. You know I like to leave every video with a cool question for you because cool questions lead to what? Lead to better conversations, lead to cool conversations. So remember this one and ask a friend, okay? Ask them, hey, have you ever had something bad happen to you only to realize later it turned out to be a great thing, okay? I can tell you from firsthand experience. I remember when the September 11th happened, okay? I was in high school. I remember that day very clearly. And I went to class, and I remember we were all pretty shocked and scared, sad about it. And it was on the news, and that day was pretty much, we didn't do a whole lot of learning that day. It was more just sad, like, man, this is what a human disgrace and humanity, right? Like, but there's also good people going out there and rescuing, and there's a lot of good in humanity too. So don't be blinded by these stupid idiots who decided to kill people in the name of some crazy whatever twisted ideology they had. But there was also good people there going to save those people, right? So here's what I want you to understand. I had a girl that was in my orchestra class, three seats from me. I played violin, and I remember she was just bawling, and we all thought she was just emotional. I mean, her face was so red, her eyes were just swelling. And our teacher, I'm not going to say his name, but our orchestra conductor, he pulled her aside, took her in his quiet, he had a little office, and he's talking to her, like, hey, what's going on, And we found out later, she didn't want to talk about it, but later we found out her dad was supposed to be on one of those flights, and he was so angry he cussed out her mom that morning. I mean, he laid it into her. I told you to set my alarm and you didn't. And he was a horrible, mean guy to her. And then they found out later what happened, and of course he had egg on his face. And, I mean, think about how bad he must have felt. But you know what? He's still alive, and I'm sure I'm assuming he apologized, and, they all kind of thought about it, because it's like, wow, how sad is that, So this seemingly horrible thing, him missing his flight, turned out, to be the reason he's not dead, he's still alive. So, be careful when you think of something as a problem, because you may not realize it, but it actually could be wonderful for you, and you have no idea. You just didn't know. But you just think about that. Now, I'm not saying that use it as an excuse to be late or nonsensical, but things are going to happen sometimes in life, even when you're doing your best, and you're going to you might think, wow, this is terrible, but really there could be something amazing about it. So you tell me, comment below, have you ever had this happen to you, something that you thought was horrible turned out later to be a great thing? And I'd like to know. All right, so you tell me. All right, well, I want to hear back from you. So I love you. I hope this was helpful for you. And remember, problems are good. Problems are good. There are gym, okay, for our soul, our higher mental faculties, and they're what make us. Problems make us happy when we overcome them. When we're in the process of overcoming, we feel good when we're getting stronger and doing the right thing. That's what makes us happy. Just trying to feel happy by eating or drugs or dancing, just that alone it's not gonna fix you. You're gonna end up like these celebrities. You're gonna think that's it and want to kill yourself. Don't do that, okay? Don't believe the lie that somehow one day my problems will go away. No, you're just going to have better problems, all right? So I love you. Enjoy your problems. Embrace them and go kick some butt. Oh, and subscribe every Wednesday. New video for you.